Electric Sunrise, Pliny, from Handmade Cities 2016. Good evening, good night, good morning. Welcome back to Build Theory. I'm Aurian Archive and I can't get to sleep. So let's get started. On one of the City of Heroes forums, there's a request for a kinetic melee energy aura stalker. Now, I made a kinetic melee. I'm sorry. Well, I've made a couple of kinetic melees. I've made a kinetic melee stalker, and I've made a kinetic melee tank. I've only made an energy aura twice that I remember. I made one for a Titan energy aura brute, and I made one for another player, a Psionic Melee Energy Aura Stalker. And that's what's up in the lower left-hand corner. I'm sorry, lower right-hand corner of the screen. Wow, I'm tired. This may not be the best way to do this. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Okay, uh, so we've got a Magic Stalker, Psionic Melee, Energy Aura. And what I went through on Energy Aura is I went for Smashing, Lethal, Energy, Fire, Cold, Defense, because these are the strong points of the set. Now, Stalkers do get Energy Drain, which is a Self plus Endurance plus Defense. Without Energy Drain, the build is still into Smashing, Lethal, Fire, Cold, passive soft caps. And depending on if you're using attuned enhancements or not, you'll be into that soft cap as early as, well, you can be. Maneuvers is less defensive power taken at level 24, so if uh, you'd have soft cap basically as soon as the level scaling kicks in, which is around level 25, 26 if you were using this build. Now, kind of looking at it now, I can already tell you this was an older build. Because I never changed Kinetic Crash out for the power it was supposed to have, which was sudden acceleration. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now while I'm thinking about it and while I'm looking at it. And this won't change any of our practical points of survivability because we are going from a uh, small movement speed, small resist, small knockback, small regeneration, huge recharge time, to a bigger jump speed, a more maximum endurance, a damage buff, and some hit points, and a huge recharge time. So, losing that resistance and losing the knock up won't matter because this energy aura has already got some knock protection in Entropy Shield. All right. There's some other kind of oddities in here. And I went deep, like on reactive defense, to push up the fire cold resist. And that was because my energy aura was, or the energy aura that I predicated this on, which we'll go ahead and bring up here so you can probably see it. I'm pretty sure that this was based on my brute, which was a Titan energy. So looking for Titan energy weapon, Fireball alt. Alright, we'll go with the Fireball alt, and hopefully this will load without giving errors. Alright, oh, we got errors. I'm going to have to bring up PhD in order to get this to go, looks like. Alright. 1 second while I fire. And we want... Alright, there we go. There's Pines up and at 'em. And we'll just keep Pines kind of on top right there. And now let's go dig up that build. Alright, Brute. Titan weapons, energy aura, and we're going with the Well, let's check the first one. All right, the first one was an ice storm. Okay, so no, this actually didn't have a whole lot in common, it looks like, with the Stalker build that I did. So I'm not really sure what the Stalker build is. I know I predicated it on something. Did I do a scrapper? Give me 1 second while I check and see whether or not I did a scrapper at any point that was energy. Hmm. Oh yes, I did a kinetic. Ooh, I did a kinetic melee energy scrapper for someone. This looks promising. What does survivability look like? We smashing lethal energy, fire cold. Okay, was that with or without uh energy drain? Okay, I took energy drain at level 35. That's without energy drain. Okay. So actually the scrapper build is already looking pretty good. In some ways it's looking better than the Psy melee build. So we may just be able to port this scrapper build over and see what that looks like. Now, I can already see myself making a few changes on this, and that's for the scrapper, for the stalker, I'm probably going to go weapon mastery, because you can still pick up physical perfection, which was useful on the stalker build I've got in the background. So that's what we'll do. All right. We'll get our scrapper build here, new cleared out. And now we'll start just bringing the powers over. Now we're going to go ahead and take all. And I'm going to take all but overload, because overload's going to be the easiest one to drop, I think. And we do get energy drain a little earlier than energize. So some of this we're going to go ahead and start filling out. Energize, I did. Why did I? No. Wow. I did a 6 slot on health on this one. Since I know I can get physical perfection, we are going. I am going to change that up a bit when I get there. So yeah. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Yeah, thanks for telling me that. I know. Yeah, it's sort of like in the middle of the day, streaming's fine. At night, experience some buffering, and I don't have anything else downloading that I know of. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of predicate this on what I think I'm going to be putting in each slot right now. I know that I'm going to want to go deep on preventive medicine because it gives me a very high recharge time when boosted all the way, and gives me a very good endurance discount and gives me a very good heal. Now I do know that the recharge time on a full set Panacea is also 89%. And this also gives me the proc here for the Transfer Absorb. For energy drain, I have that 3 slotted with Gift of the Ancients. So going to do Gift of. Actually, I may change that up. So we're actually going to. Since I know I don't need the defense from energy drain, we've now got interesting powers here in Synapses Shock, interesting enhancements in Synapses Shock, power transfer, and preemptive optimization that may give us more build. The one reason why we might want to go for Gift of the Ancients is it does have that 2.25 resistance to fire cold, and that may be useful. So we'll kind of hold off on energy drain for right now. And we'll go up to disrupt. Okay, is a toggle PBOE Forest Disorient. This was actually a changed power. I'm not familiar with it. Okay, and it's just a stun field. Okay, since there is not an equivalent to that on the Scrapper side, we're going to skip that for now and go up to Kinetic Dampening. Okay, auto plus self-resistance. I guess it's going to be same like with, yep, energy negative toxic slow, energy negative toxic lethal smashing slow. Okay, this actually covers a wider range, but it looks like I did an unbreakable maximum and a status resistance. It looks like on this I took super speed, and it looks like I took super speed for hasten. I do have a slot free now, so for a stalker, I think speed of sound might be a little bit more desirable. And I went with a 2 slot here with the slow resistance and the endurance for that 3.75 resistance to fire cold. Now, since I really don't know a whole lot about how this player intends to play, I know I went for a lot of fire cold resist because I was intending on taking an energy aura into a fire farm. And typically speaking, if you're building heavy on fire cold, you tend to get a pretty good AoE defense as well. But we'll see how this shakes out. Okay, we had combat jumping, and we'll go ahead and kind of count on that because you really do want combat jumping for the air control. And once again, here I had just a single, and then again the double. I may have. How did I do this then? Okay, actually, we'll change this one over to the full travel power and change combat jumping to the proc. Alright, entropy shield has no set, so we'll just give it a single +5, and same here, single +5. Power shield, finally a shared power, and this one we did a look at a gambler, and we went deep on defense endurance, defense, and run speed. Okay, so defense endurance, defense, and run speed. Alright, kinetic shield was pretty much the same. We had a look at the gambler to start with. We had a defense, endurance, defense, and then run speed. And if you're kind of asking, why aren't you taking, and like the builds I've done before, why aren't you taking defense, endurance, recharge? For starters, Gift of the Ancients is only 15 to 40. Luck of the Gambler is 25 to 50. So Gift of the Ancients does go lower for that run speed boost, but the run speed boost is only the run speed boost. On Luck of the Gambler, it's defense plus increased global recharge. Uh, Therefore, you really want to attune the run speed so you get the boost up and down all level ranges. And because you have that lower level to begin with, level 40 cap, you kind of want the defense in here to push the defense values into the, excuse me, red hard cap. Now, okay, if I go ahead and change this defense to defense endurance recharge here, we are actually still doing pretty good on going into the defensive soft cap. So I'm actually going to go ahead and make that change, even though this is a build that picks up an energy drain, some endurance recovery, uh, depending on what level you're playing at, because you don't get energy drain until really late. That extra endurance recovery may actually be really useful. And we had a Kismet for some power. And then we have an extra defensive power in Hide. Now, this is where I'm going to go to slots and hand. Oh, no, I'm going to go to options, configuration, effects and math, and make sure that attack is checked. And that'll basically give us our values if hide was not being active. And right now, we're going to kind of count on pulling are slots from maneuvers. Because maneuvers went deep for that scaling resist damage. Alright, now this actually gave us camp defense there. I don't know. I had the shield wall proc in overload. Not really sure. Thing is, hide is a toggle, but it takes no endurance. So right now, we're just going to go ahead and stick the shield wall proc in here. Now we're going to come back. We're going to change this to kinetic melee. And we skipped quick strike, so we're going body blow, smashing blow, assassin strike, build up, burst as soon as we can get it, placate, focus burst, concentrated strike. Okay, now let's go through and kind of fill out the powers that we haven't taken and see where we're at. Alright, we're starting with Body Blow, and Body Blow was a 5 slot with Hecatomb for the recharge. And there we go. And Smashing Blow was a full 6 slot with the Scrapper ATO that gave recharge time. Now, this is where things do get complicated, because on Assassin Strike, you do want to put the Assassin Strike that gives you recharge chance to hide. So this power is kind of always determined, and the reason you want to do this is because of procs per minute. Procs per minute is the formula calculated on a power-based recharge upon which a proc activates. The live developer, Paragon, did program the PPM on the Assassin's Strike for the Stalker's Guile ATO. They did program it in such a way that you are almost always guaranteed. You have the 95% maximum chance for the proc to go off by putting this ATO into your Assassin Strike. You can put it into other powers, but if you're playing a Stalker, you really are just not a good idea. Okay. And we do want to go deep. Okay, the reason why it's not a good idea is that you really want the power to go off when it makes the most sense to go off. And to give us an idea of reason why, we are going to bring that back up. And on this one, I am going to open my Kinetic Melee Ice Stalker. I realize we're going off on a tangent here. This is my Kinetic Melee Ice Armor Revision 3. And she's getting errors. This is kind of a little annoying, actually. 1 second while I open a second Pine window. And there we go. And bring it out a little bit. Yeah, the new mids is apparently having issues with builds. It should not be having an issue with something's broken on the importer. I don't know what. Okay, I want Stalker, Kinetic Melee, Ice Armor. Now, on my Kinetic Melee Ice Armor, you can see I did the Assassin Strike with Stalker Guile, and I did Smashing Blow with Superior's Assassin's Mark. Now, the idea here is that Concentrated Strike doesn't really have a critical. In fact, I think the critical is turned off on it. Instead, it has a chance. Okay, what happens is that if you have a guaranteed critical, or you critical on Concentrated Strike, instead of doing extra damage, it automatically recharges your build-up power. And that means that you can do Assassin Strike with the ATO Hide, and then you're hidden. You hit build up. You hit concentrated strike, or there's another factor in here. You hit concentrated strike, and from hide, you crit, which immediately recharges your build up, and then you can just do body blow, smashing blow, assassin strike, and now you've done your 3 hits on full build up. You're probably still running, got the full effect of the build up. You hit assassin strike again, and now you are delivering some staggering levels of single target damage. Now, this is complicated by the Stalker Smashing Blow, 100% chance to self, a 5% chance total, 100% recharge power to bring up uh, build up as well. So not only do you have your guaranteed build up coming off of concentrated strike from hide, you've got your build up coming off random chance on every power that's attacking from the other ATO. This lets this lets Kinetic Melee put out some, as I said, staggeringly high amounts of damage. It is the glass cannon. It can break some damage charts. Okay, let's drop that down and get my energy melee. And yeah, I know I could probably backport from the kinetic melee I've already built, but yep, PhD just crashed out. Oh well. Okay, let's get back to this one. So smashing blow, I had the other ATO, and the other ATO gives us a 10% recharge time at full proc. And so we're going to go ahead and go deep there on smashing blow. Okay, then over to build-up, where we're just going to put a single Gaussian proc for the moment. And Disrupt was the stun field, we'll leave that alone. Okay, Burst is our PBAOE. So we're kind of... I'm going to have to find a tissue box in a second. Excuse me. Okay, so we're doing Armageddon. Armageddon it! Are you getting it? And there we go, Armageddon in place. And now we're capped on recharge and our damage. Placate, which takes no sets. So we're just going to put a recharge in here right now. Focus Burst. Now, Focus Burst is over on the Scrapper, I took the ATO. But since I put the ATO on Smashing Blow, we look at one of the powers we skipped over. The ranged, or the Repulsing Torrent on Scrapper, which is not available over on the Stalker side. So we're going basically, we're jumping to Focused Burst. We didn't take Overwhelming Force because we didn't need to mitigate any knockback. But we now also have a few more options for what we can do here. We do have the Sudden Acceleration, because what Focus Burst does, faux knockdown, we really don't need to mitigate anything. So we may be able to plan on using our Apocalypse here in Focus Burst, or maybe Superior's Winter Bite. So we're going to leave Focus Burst open for now, but at 6 slots to free us up for whatever our build looks like later. Concentrated Strike. This one, we already used Hecatomb earlier on Body Blow. Now, we could swap Smashing Blow with Body Blow, but the reason why I think I went this way is that with the proc on here, Body Blow is doing 174 damage on average. Going down to Smashing Blow, it's doing 189 on damage. So, putting the purple proc on Body Blow, at least for the moment, is giving us something, is making Body Blow less of a don't use it power. Now, you still want to, basically, because of the, okay, there's another mechanic here I need to talk about in regards to stalkers, and that is the assassination. A stalker gets, and additionally, a stalker gets a critical strike or a guaranteed critical anytime they attack from hide. Stalker also has a chance to land a critical hit with most attack powers when attacking held or slept foes. There's also something here that's not mentioned, and that is because it was a change, it's called Assassin's Focus. And what this means is that for every 3 normal attacks, the Stalker gains a circle around Assassin Strike, and then Assassin Strike strikes for full damage in a quick animation. Now, the Kinetic Melee kind of makes this easy because you have Concentrated Strike, Smashing Blow, Body Blow, and then you've done your 3 attacks to charge up Assassin Strike. And that's one of the reasons why you want, this is why you kind of want Hecatomb down here, because you are going to be using Body Blow as part of your attack chain to drive maximum damage through Assassin Strike. And that's why, okay, so we've got because that's basically our biggest damage boost proc in there. No other melee set gives us that kind of damage boost. We could, if we're short on defense, maybe have to go with Mako's Bite. But for now, we're going with Blistering Cold, because it gives us purple level enhancement benefits, and it also gives us a powerful Fire Cold resist. If we check this, we're capped on damage. Our recharge time isn't too shabby. And that fixes all of the powers in place for the upper end. Let's start looking at our tertiaries. We're probably going to be skipping Overload, even though I took it on the Scrapper. And I kind of favor Weapon Mastery. And I favor Weapon Mastery because you get Physical Perfection very early. And then you get Shuriken and you get Exploding Shuriken. And those can be very useful. Kinetic Melee also doesn't really fit with any of the other sets. They really don't. Darkness Mastery, you could make a strong case for Tenebrious Tentacles, but you don't really get a self buff. You do get Hibernate over in Leviathan Mastery. So I guess if you wanted to do a backport, yeah, you could. But for right now, we're going to kind of go with Weapon Mastery just to see what this gets us. Shuriken, Exploding Shuriken. Okay, we got 2 powers left. And, well, actually, we got 1, 2, 3 powers left. So we're down here. We did health. We did full 6 slots on Panacea. I think I did that for that extra 6% heal. It's the only thing I'm coming up with. But we'll take a look here. We had Fire Blast and Ciliary with the Apocalypse, and we had Fireball. Set some bonuses. Cap. What did I just cap on? Okay, I capped on recharge time. That's why I didn't have it there. Okay, nice to know. Alright, since I'm planning on taking Physical Perfection, what I'm going to do is just pop 3 slots in here, and we're going to pop 5 slots into Shuriken, and we're going to pop 6 slots into Exploding Shuriken. Okay, we've got 10 slots to go, so that's either 5 slots per power, or, maybe pick up Targeting Drone, maybe pick up Hasten. What we could do maybe is Experimental Injection for a proc, and then adrenal booster. Okay, but before we make any decisions, let's see what our totals look like with what all we've got in place. Okay, right now we are at smashing, lethal, energy, fire, cold. Now at this point, over on the scrapper, I had dampening field. I don't have a dampening field over here, so I need to put the two resist procs that have not gone anywhere else, the resistance defense and the gladiator TP defense. I need to put those in kinetic dampening, or I need to pick up kick, tough, weave to make up the defense. Okay, now we're looking at with everything up, smashing, lethal, fire, cold. All right, let's put a couple slots into hide and take this out with a defense, and we'll do defense recharge just to see what we get. Okay, we're up to 44, 44, 42, 38, so we still need some energy defense and we need fire cold defense. Now, if we go over to focus burst and we do, actually, if we swap this, let's swap focus burst for Shiroken, and we'll do Shiroken out with Winter's Bite. Or actually, before I do that, we'll make a determination. Which power are we more likely to use in a fight? Neither one of them have any damage set, so let's check their base damage. Base damage on Shiroken, 50.4, or right now we're running 46.71. Focus Burst, damage 100.3. Okay, so Focus Burst is doing a lot more damage than Shiroken. Now, what's our cast time look like? Cast time 2 seconds on Focus Burst, cast time 1.0 seconds. So cast time, okay, I'm pretty sure this can't be seen. Power graph, so I'm just going to have to read this out. All powers, and I want to do damage per second. Okay, the damage per second on Shiroken right now in this current build is at 19.12 second. Is 19.12 per second. Focused burst is at 17.52. So the damage per second, how much each power can pump out before we've enhanced them, Shiroken does less damage, but it animates quicker and it recharges quicker. Recharge 1.5 seconds for, whereas 4.18 seconds on focus burst. So I think how this would work out for best damage potential over effect is we're going to do the focus burst, and we're going to do focus burst out to a full superior winner's bite, and this gives us both fire cold 5% and defense energy negative 5%. And now we are at 47 on fire cold. We only need some smashing lethal and energy. So let's see how we can pick that up. Shiroken, we're going to go ahead and pump out with the Apocalypse. Okay. And now to just give you a quick update on the power graphs, damage per second with the proc in there, all sets. Shiroken is now doing 57.18 damage per second. Focus Burst is doing 45.62. So Shiroken is still doing more damage per second total. And because of its quick cast time, you're probably going to be using it a little more often. All right, we have 6 slots to go. Energy drain. Okay. We'll Let's look back on our totals. Yeah, we need smashing lethal energy. Let's finish off with the powers that we can. All right, if we do superior frozen blast, we get defense AoE, defense fire cold. We've got that. Defense fire cold. We got that. We do get defense energy negative with artillery, so that could be one way to go. And we get Ragnarok, which gives us a recharge time, but we may already be into recharge time cap. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to just plop Shiroken. I'm going to plop Exploding Shiroken with Ragnarok. I'm not going to plus it at this time. I'm just going to go ahead and plop it in there. And then do a quick window, set some bonus. We are at cap. We are already at the recovery cap, and we are already at the recharge time cap for 10%. So Ragnarok actually buys us nothing except that fire cold resist, which admittedly is very nice. And there is kind of a way we can make this work. We could take 3 slots from Frozen Blast, and we'll take the quads, accuracy, and we'll do accuracy, damage, endurance. And over on artillery, we'll take the bottom 3. And this gives us, now we are, well, we're not doing so hot on damage, but we're doing great on recharge and accuracy. All right, so can we do damage endurance here? All right, let's swap to damage endurance. What does our damage look like? A little bit better. Let's do, oh, I don't really want to drop the ranges. So let's come down here. Accuracy, damage, endurance. Let's change the quad to accuracy, damage, recharge. No. Change the quad to damage, endurance. Now we've got pretty decent endurance discount. Almost there on damage. I don't want to give up either one of the range boosts on artillery. Can't really scratch any more damage out of there. I guess we could go damage, endurance, and accuracy damage. What's that give us? All right, now we're into yellow on damage. Our endurance discount is still pretty high. Because of accuracy up here, we should be good on total accuracy, and our recharge time is okay. Our recharge time is 11.55 seconds out of 32, so hey, it's actually doing pretty good. All right, and now what's our totals look like? Our totals look like we've got 45 to energy. We could take you could tune these, and then you'd have that defense across all levels. Let's actually just see what that looks like on our figures. Let's just change all of these to 50. And now check. Okay, we're still yellow capped on damage. And our recharge time is still 12 seconds or so, about 11.99. So we're actually doing pretty good on recharge time. So yeah, you could attune the artillery here and not be out too much. And now we just need smashing lethal. Let's look over at stun. Now I do know that in Rope-a-Dope, no, not Rope-a-Dope, one of these, I think was a, oh, there it is, Razzle Dazzle. Let's pass over Razzle Dazzle for now. Okay, the easy answer right now is we could go ahead and just take maneuvers. Yeah, and if we take maneuvers and we went deep like we do on the scrapper. Defense endurance. Defense endurance recharge. Defense. Proc. And now let's turn maneuvers on. We're well into soft caps. We didn't really need to do all of that funky stuff over here with exploding Shiroken. Now, if we didn't need to do all of that stuff with Shirokin, we do have another option available to us. We actually have two options available to us. And the first option here on Shirokin, since we didn't actually need that, once I take this away, we're still in Smashing Lethal. We are missing some. We we really could use that fire cold resist. I mean, that is a huge buff. And it is one reason I would probably go ahead and just run the 3-slot on Superior Frozen Blast. But we could also go with Bombardment, which has a 5% global chance for range with 2 slots. And we could actually be a little nasty here. Because if we went Bombardment, we could also put a Annihilation proc in here too. Now, our endurance is crap and our recharge time ain't that great. But if we come over here and check our info, we're at 13 seconds now on recharge. We're capped on damage. We've got a chance for fire damage. So now we're doing 170 damage, which puts us... we're not that far behind Burst, which is our other PBAOE. And we've gained some global range. So, yeah, you could go either way with this. I mean, if it was, my build and I was making it, I would probably go with artillery for that regeneration buff. Oh, wait, no, I won't. And take the 2 range buffs in the enhancements. Accuracy damage, accuracy. What was I? How was I trading off? Accuracy damage recharge. What's that look like? I mean, because you've got an energy recovery, you really could get away with that. You don't need it, but it does kind of give you best of both worlds. You get more fire cold resist, and that really helps against things that lay down DOTs, damage over times. Okay, and let's check our sets and bonuses. We still aren't capped anything. All right, so now with that in place, we're at Smashing Lethal Energy Fire Cold soft caps. We're pushing some decent resist. And now we can kind of just plan on physical. We have 2 slots left. We kind of maybe need to think about these last 2 powers. Now, I said before, I kind of lean toward experimental injection and adrenal booster. And I kind of lean towards these because in experimental injection, you can be a little cute and go power transfer and put the chance for heal proc in there, or you could do in mod increased run speed. And adrenal booster does give you someplace else to ramp up your damage to really ludicrous levels. Another option would be instead of adrenal booster, you go with web grenade. And now you have something that's maybe useful in like a ship raid, and we know we're already capped on endurance recovery, so that wouldn't buy us much. But there's nothing really in here in these sets other than that purple, and we're already capped for the effect of the purple. So, you may be better off not taking web grenade. And of the others that we're locked out of experimentation and sorcery now, I think. You could do combat teleport and pick up an extra but going with speed of sound, you've already got a built-in teleport. We haven't done anything with... Okay. Another option is to do Corrosive Vial. which does give you a range targeted AoE, high DOT defense. All right, and we'll go back to info. And I'll set this up how I would probably set this up. I would probably set it up with chance for 2-hit debuff and endurance stun. I would go energy drain, and let's go ahead and counter luck of the gamblers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only got 4 luck of the gamblers placed so far, so we could do a luck of the gambler here. What's our totals look like? Our total, okay, so, well, I just hit cap on something. Okay, we've hit cap on 4% recovery at some point. So, all right, putting in disrupt here, hit our cap on 4% endurance recovery. Do we really have any other options? Well, you have endurance stun, and you have endurance accuracy and stupefy, or you have stun range. That would actually be interesting. Endurance stun and stun range. Let's check our effects here. Stun. It's only a mag 2 stun. Doesn't say how far it goes. Radius 8, so doesn't look like our radius was actually buffed by that. So we didn't really get anything. But going this way, we do get, let's say, endurance stun and accuracy endurance. Okay, now we've got, well, our endurance consumption was already pretty low to begin with, but we're now still picking up a 2.5% endurance recovery overall. Our endurance discount is, I don't know. It may be better taking a slot from here instead of going for a bonus and putting it elsewhere and just doing end stun on the purple. And freeing up maybe a slot here to do our Luck the Gambler, do a quick check. We are not capped. And maybe going with a 3-slot, because Energy Drain doesn't do any damage. If we went with Preemptive Optimization, we pick up some max in and some hit points. But we also pick up, let's go Chance for Heal Self, in mod, and all we have is, here we have an in mod, that may actually be more useful. Here we have an in mod endurance. We have an in mod accuracy endurance. And an in mod accuracy recharge. Now our recharge is already pretty low, so we probably don't need all of those recharges in there. What Synapses Shock looks like. We got 2 in mods and an in mod recharge. And we get a resistance to slow. That could actually be useful. One of the few places where in 3-slot performance shifter would also be useful. Alright. 4 slots there gives us Fire Cold. 3 slots on Gift of the Ancients also gives us Fire Cold. I think this may depend on whether or not you really want an endurance return or more resistance to Fire Cold, depending on what you're going to be doing. depending on how you're playing and depending on what levels you're playing at, if you're doing a lot of content against Arachnos, the Arachnos can plow through the endurance in a hurry. So I'd really be if it was, my build and I was making this for myself, I would probably go with Synapse's Shock, even though I don't need that recharge, because it gives me the highest return on endurance. And if I cap them, it also gives me a very powerful endurance drain on my opponents. Okay. And we have no slots left. We still have Physical Perfection and Corrosive File and Experimental Injection. Experimental Injection, I'm just going to toss the Power Transfer Chance to Heal Self on. Physical Perfection, I'm going to give it a Panacea proc and a Panacea heal. Health, I'm going to give a Numi proc and then a Numi heal. And in Stamina, I'm just going to give a Flat IO2. And Corrosive File, I'm going to give a Bombardment, chance for fire damage, and a Bombardment, and we'll go with Accuracy. We'll go with the quad just because it buffs everything a little. And now we've got another little thing that we can just ramp up on enemies. We can just like toss a vial, hit them with Exploding Shuriken, Combat Teleport in, Burst, or Combat Teleport in, Energy Drain, Burst, or how I would see this working if you're taking on a mob is Combat Teleport in using Speed of Sound. What did I just pick? Combat Teleport in using Speed of Sound, Energy Drain to drain enemies of all of their endurance, Corrosive Vial to start. Actually, what's our endurance look like on Corrosive Vial? Alright, endurance is 11.5. That's actually a lot of endurance. It may be better to go accuracy recharge endurance. Won't do much for the way of damage, but does bring our accuracy up a little bit. Again, with Kismet, our total accuracy is at 151%, so you should be able to land this. It's still going to take a chunk of endurance out, but if you're cranking energy drain, that shouldn't be a problem. So energy drain, corrosive vial, exploding shuriken, burst, or corrosive vial, burst, exploding shuriken, teleport out. And there you've got a massive amount of PBAOE damage that you can deliver as a stalker, which generally aren't good on PBAOE damage because they're not supposed to be. Okay, now let's think about uh, our incarnate powers. And right now, we're already good on smashing lethal, energy, fire, cold. If we crank energy drain, let's click on energy drain. If we crank it up to maximum mob 10, we're not quite in our incarnate soft cap, but if we got any teammates helping us who have a passive maneuvers to put on us, or I haven't even turned on combat. Did I just do all of that without turning on combat jumping? I don't need maneuvers. I forgot to turn on combat jumping. Okay. Well, okay. I mean that proc there is nice, and that extra luck of the gambler is good for recharge. But I can move the proc to. I can move the proc to hide. That frees up a few more slots. I can move both of those procs to hide. Well, don't I feel silly? Okay, so we don't need maneuvers. All right, what could we take in this place? Well, let's go ahead and bring these slots in. And we'll move both of these, the Luck of the Gambler and the Resist Defense into hide. All right. The one thing we should be looking at right now is what's energized look like, because that'll actually determine what we take. So unlock and go to energize. Okay, duration 30 seconds, recharge 39. So right now, energize is not quite perma. So we're going to do incarnates, and I'm going to turn on Spiritual Core Paragon, which gives us healing. Spiritual Core gives us recharge rate, stun duration, healing. Stun duration will help disrupt a little bit. And now let's check our energize. We are now at 3505. Okay, we're going to dip into the speed pool then and take hasten. Give it a slot. And now bump this up. And now we're going to turn Spiritual Core off. And now check, and we're at 95%. Check our details on hasten. With hasten on, we are at 117, 120. So we are actually at perma hasten. Check energize, we're at 31.9. Flick spiritual on. At the top end, you're at 29 seconds. So at the top end, with this build right now, you would be into perma hasten and perma energize. Let me restate that. At the top end, you would be into perma hasten and perma energize. You would be cranking 30.37 HP per second without accolades. Oh, sorry, on a stalker. Now, what happens when we flick accolades on? I want Born in Battle, High Pain Threshold, Invader, Marshal. Alright, now our max HP is currently 1,621, and our regeneration is 35.67. So at the top end, with all acolytes, you would be cranking back permanently every time you click Energize, in addition to the heal, 35.67 HP per second on a Stalker. Okay, next, we still have one slot to go. What's the best thing to do with it? Do we give Corrosive Vial a little more? Do we give health a little more? Some more hit points. What's our here? Resistance Smash Lethal. Here we have a smaller regeneration rate. Physical Perfection. Uh, what to do? What to do? I'm kind of leaning towards giving Corrosive Vial some more, even though we really don't. Even though that Smashing Lethal Resist won't buy us much of anything, it still does use up a ton of endurance. And even with Physical Perfection and Energy Drain going, Our recharge time is now 94, but that's with spiritual. So let's check this out. Corrosive file now recharges in 15 seconds and cost 9, so our end cost really hasn't gone down. Our accuracy is 169%, so it has kind of gone up. Doesn't really buy us much in the way of anything. Okay, so what? Health? Alright. Health, if we do just heal endurance to pack it out, let's bring back up our advanced totals. We are now regenerating 36, so we gain 1 HP per second. That gives us a regeneration. And our max HP has increased to 1643. Windows set some bonuses. We're still not capped. So we really didn't gain much of anything from there. Experimental injection. Let's change this up to an InMod. And now check this. 36.08 on 1621. So we've basically still, we're still in that 36 HP per second range. All right, so that change may give us our biggest payoff. We've still got a power that can help a friend of ours who's down. And if you're a energy or a stalker, you could just appear out of nowhere and just jab somebody and like, oh, there you go, you're recharged. I'm sorry, did that hurt? I kind of like the idea of a stalker doing that. And it's just like, I'm a medic, and everyone's like, no, you're the stalker. You're not the. Ow! Why'd you strike me? It's just an injection. Okay, I'm actually kind of happy with this because we still got our smashing lethal energy fire cold without energy drain. I'm still kind of embarrassed that I didn't notice combat jumping was turned off until I actually looked to see if combat jumping was turned off, and we went down that whole road with maneuvers. We are, compared to the scrapper build, pushing a little bit less fire cold resistance, a little bit less smashing lethal, a little more negative resistance, strangely enough. Our regen is a little bit higher, and our recharge is off the chart. So, yeah, if I was building a kinetic melee energy aura, this is probably what I would actually run. We'll save this and get it posted. This is Aurian Archive. Maybe now I can go to sleep.